Hey everybody, Garcia here, and today I'm taking a look at the first expansion to Res Arcana. This is Light and Darkness. Res Arcana here is a fantastic game, a game that does so much with very little, and it's all about drawing out the really interesting combinations from the few components you are given. Well, the expansion is going to give you a few more components and new interesting things to seek, new interesting combinations that you might discover over many plays. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a look at what comes in here, how it all works. I'm going to not necessarily explain the original game, so if you don't know Res Arcana, well, go check out my review for that, and also, you might want to pick up a copy of this. It is truly outstanding, but if you're ready to find out what comes in this smaller box, you're in the right place. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, and I'll see you on the other side of that. In the box, you are going to get several new components that you're going to shuffle into the game and play with them. So you're going to get a rule book, first of all. It's going to detail what comes in there. So you get 2 places of power, which are right over here. I'll show you those in a second. They are double-sided. 12 new cards for the deck of cards. You are going to have 2 new magic items. These up here, one of which comes with a bunch of scrolls, because that's its power, letting you earn one of those scrolls. You are going to get 4 new mages. You're going to get 4 new monument cards that you are going to shuffle in, and a few more of the essences that you can add to your supply. It also has in here something I like very much, and that is an adjustment for the number of players. For one thing, you can now play with 5 if you so choose, but they do make the game tighter for 2 players and a little more loose for 4, so that it will adjust and keep everything in the correct amount of tension depending on the number of players. This is a brand new thing that they included. So, first of all, let's go ahead and take a look at the new mages here. You are going to have 4 new options, and they give you some variations in some of the things. They also are going to feature 2 of them anyway. The new kind of card that is seen in this expansion, and that is demons in these artifacts. There are going to be, most of the cards, in fact, are going to be the new card type demons. And some of these are going to let you manipulate those by readying them again, or maybe letting you discard them and getting some gold, things like that. So, there you go. Those are the new ones. You are going to have, like I said, 4 new monuments. And these are all, of course, still valued at 4 gold. They have to be, because you can buy them off the top of the deck. You are going to have 3 of them, which give you an income, which I like very much. It's a new source of income there for the essences. And then some new powers. Some of them being quite powerful, others not as much, like this card, for example, where you get to exhaust this card and pay 1 gold to ready something else. It's only worth 1 victory point, but it does have that flexible income. So that's, might be worth it to your strategy in the game. And basically, more choices there. You're going to have the new places of power, like I said. You have these 2 on the what they call the easier side, I suppose, with some usage of specific essences there for more victory points. And then on the back, a couple more with some really neat powers. Many of the powers don't need you to exhaust the place of power. So, for example, this one here has 3 separate powers. Only the top one requires that this be exhausted. So you could load this up with quite a few points on a single go if you manage to do it right. And I also like that this one gives you a victory point per demon card you've got and per death essence on it. So that's something you can really try to customize your strategy towards. And then this one, which is huge, gives you 5 victory points for +1 for every 2 cards you've built of your, they have to be artifacts. So there you go, there's those. We've got up here the 2 new tiles you can draft. One of them is this illusion power that lets you use this, and it becomes either a creature or a demon, or if you pay a little bit, it could even be considered a dragon. This is when something else wants you to spend that kind of creature. So, for example, if I have this and this at the same time, And this one requires me to exhaust one of the new demons to place a blue essence on here. I can exhaust this and say, fine, this is going to be a demon. And boom, I can do that. So there you go. Really cool stuff. And then the other one, this inscription, is a little bit of a catch-all. And it features a bunch of little powers. When you exhaust this, you pay 1 essence, and then you take any of these you want, and you keep it in front of you, and you can spend at any time later on that you want to. When you do so, you put it back in the supply. So it's sort of got a few different powers that let you do a bunch of different things at slightly weaker return rates than some of the legitimate powers. So for example, one of these is going to let you draw a card by spending 1 blue essence. But there is already one of these tiles that lets you spend any essence to draw a card. So this is slightly worse. It's a little more specific. But the flexibility is nice, and this is going to be really good when you have a game with more players, and the things you were looking for, oh, I need a protection this round, and that's gone, or I need a card draw, and that's gone. Well, you can come here to the inscription, and you can get protection. You can get a card draw. You can make some gold at an expensive exchange rate, but you can do so. So it's a nice ability that blossoms into a lot of possibilities in play. And then lastly, we've got over here, of course, the new cards, and they are going to be, like I said, mostly of that demon type. Now, those are not always attack powers. This one is an attack power here, the fire demon, but a lot of them are not. A lot of them just give you new abilities, new manipulations, things like that. And I think they're great. They really mix in very smoothly. They don't stand out. There's nothing particularly bizarre about them. Here's another attack one. They also give you some cards that are not of these demon powers, like this one here is a prismatic dragon that is going to get you any resource except for death and gold, and then it's worth its own victory point, of course, with a nice ability there. And this one here, which is a creature, and that has a protection ability on it. A couple of other things down here, which are a nice amount of variety. One really cool thing in this game is there's a couple of new powers that are interesting. One of them, I'll say 3 powers. One of them lets you spend resources, spend your essences, just to put them on a card, just so that they're not in your pool. And that way the other players cannot take them away from you. Let me see if I find that. I believe it's on one of these. Yeah, this one here. You're going to be able to, spend resources, spend your essences, and just lock them on the card here. But it also has a secondary power that lets you exhaust this and take all the essences on any one component. So that means any card that makes gold and puts it on that card, you can get it back sooner if you do this, if you exhaust this and take it back. Or just hide your stuff. So I like that. That's a cool power. There's also a retrieve power that lets you take a card back from the discard pile. So if you discard something, you can get it back sooner than having to cycle your deck. That's very cool. And then lastly, there are some cards, such as this one here, that are going to allow you to put essences on other things through different means. So for example, looking at this one here, it's going to be 1 victory point per life essence on it. If I have this also, I can exhaust this and spend 1 life and put it directly on that. So it's like another way to start loading these up. Really neat stuff. Again, this game is very subtle ultimately. There's a lot of little combinations, but what is here is robust, and I think it's going to breathe a lot of new life into the core game. Plus give you more variety, of course. So that should be enough to give you an idea of what this all plays like. Let's go back up top. Let me tell you some final thoughts. Alright, so that is it. Let's go ahead and talk about this. My main issue with it is the same issue I had with the original game. And it's not much of an issue at all. That is that the theme in the game is a little lackluster. It's a little less than exciting. For me, anyway. So we're going to start right there. The setting, again, not really exciting. It is well finalized, though, which is why I'm not giving this a thumbs down. I just don't find it captivating necessarily. It is all there. All the pieces clearly are designed first to do exactly what they need to do mechanically in the game, and then assigned some fantasy-sounding name to fulfill the role in this world. But that isn't necessarily why I keep coming back to the table. Everything else I do like quite a bit. So for example, the aesthetics in the game are great. Same illustrator, everything folds right in. If not for the little dot in the corner of all the components, which I very much appreciate because you can remove the expansion if you want, if not for that, I don't think anybody would be able to tell this is expansion content and this is original game content. And that's great because everything looks good, feels right, folds right in. The replayability here, of course, is the main boost to the original game. And a big part of that is not just extra components, but the fact that you are not playing with everything every time. Because with the new rules included in the rulebook, you'll remove a random amount, the amount isn't random, but random things to the amount they describe from the game. And so not every place of power will be available to you that perhaps you were counting on. That one 3-point monument that maybe you were looking for might not be in the deck. So I like that very much. I think that really kicks up replayability a tremendous amount, considering there really isn't a whole lot in the box here. The amount of content, there are not many bits, but it adds a lot of replayability. The game length is still tight, still very quick. And like I said, the adjustment for players makes the gameplay also feel tight and appropriate to the number of players. The ease of play is very smooth. There are a couple of new words you need to throw into the game's lingo now, but other than that, it folds right in, and I haven't found it to be problematic at all. Lastly, the tactics and strategy and luck, things like that. This is another big kick besides the replayability. And that is because you now are provided with new answers to old problems. You have responses and new combinations that you did not have before. And you are going to draft or be given those 8 cards at the beginning of the game. And from that, and from the your mage and whatever else is on the table, you have to make the best possible race towards 10 victory points that you can. That's fascinating to me, that you are doing all of these things and trying to manipulate so much and get as much as you can, as quickly as you can, with just a few cards and a couple of different powers. And giving you this many new powers, though again, in the grand scheme of things, there aren't that many pieces, just a couple of new variations on what's been in the game is really neat and clever. And some of the new cards really are just simply clever answers to, old combinations of cards. So there you go. Like you can see, a big, resounding success in my opinion. So let me give you my bottom line here. Not a large expansion, but more of almost the same is precisely what this game needed, in my opinion. So this is going to get a big 9 out of 10 from me, which is a seal of excellence. The game itself is absolutely excellent. This expansion, I definitely recommend. Wouldn't necessarily say get them together. You don't need that. But if you have the base game, you've played it a bunch, you're loving it, you see this, and you're considering whether you should or should not get it, you definitely want to get it. This isn't going to mess with the formula. It's just going to enhance it. So again, big thumbs up for Light and Darkness here. And that's it from me, everybody. Thanks for checking this out. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.